Uh-oh. We are live, brother.
Hello, everybody out there in the world.
All right. All right.
Trying to find
How's
this video.
everybody out here doing? Hopefully y'all are getting it in where you fit in. And in fact, let me get this shouted out on the twatter there.
Yep,
Let
yep.
more people know that we are doing the damn thing out here on these cybernetic streets. And
Mm.
boom.
Get it?
So my man Cridious, how you doing, player? You doing good?
Yeah, doing good, man. I've been spending my days just writing music.
You right. Okay, so hold up. You right. I've heard you talking about like doing screenplays and all this. So you do music too?
Yeah, well, actually, I used to like go underground studios and just do rap, just rap in the underground studios, and I gave it up, because it was going nowhere. Yeah,
You gave up your dreams.
yeah, and I didn't have money either. That's a big issue. I couldn't afford those hourly rates, so I just got to put it down. So now I just do it for entertainment, behind closed doors for myself.
Well, they've. I don't know how long ago this was, but they got all that. They got all these little setups now that you can pretty much do everything with a decent laptop and some good mics. And
Yeah, I think the Focusrite is like 250, and you get like the mic and the little USB port where you hook up the mic to the computer all together.
right.
Yeah, so I want to get one, but I just can't right now. Too tight.
Mm, mm,
Yeah,
mm.
and I do beats too on the side.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay. So you rap and you can do the beats.
yeah.
You ain't got a SoundCloud. You're not a SoundCloud rapper.
No, no, no. You know the thing, man. Like I'm like a novice at beats. I mean, I've been doing it for years. I just don't go all out. And people do the synths and they do the faders and outs and all that. I can't do none of that.
Oh, okay. But you have like samples of your music that people can
Yeah,
listen
yeah,
to and
yeah,
stuff.
yeah. I got
Okay.
some decent stuff.
Well, I'm just saying, you might plug and let people listen. You never know. You might have a hit there. You might just need to put a little spin polish on it and get it
Yeah, yeah. I
going.
might, I might. I was thinking about doing that. I was thinking about recording one song and just put it on my YouTube channel and see how that goes.
It's like you could do like the Detective Dead theme song or something.
Yeah, I was thinking about doing a brand song.
I don't. You know what? I thought about if there was maybe a brand soundtrack or something. I don't know, but I don't know. CDs and stuff are so antiquated.
Yeah, just do like a digital release, like a single.
Interesting.
And
I
get
have to
it, then
think
send
about
send
that
it out with your
because,
campaign.
well, I mean, Kanan and I are going to do the director's commentary.
Okay.
Um, those are little tier. That's one tier that I have on the campaign. That's it's like $5. It's just as an add-on.
Okay.
So $5, and you can hear me and Kanan run our mouths about all the fights and everything we've had while we've been doing the book. Because I get on to Kanan all the time. I love Kanan. Kanan be getting on my nerves. I be like, all right, Kanan. I
Yeah,
mean,
Kane
I
is
don't,
cool, man. I love that guy.
yeah,
He's quiet
yeah,
too.
yeah.
Well, at
Don't
least
don't
on my
don't don't
streams.
don't don't give him. Yeah, I just don't give him any ideas because he already has a big head and everything. However, I guess I should I should be nice to him since he's my boss now, kind of.
Oh,
So, well, I mean,
oh,
he hired me to be his art representative. So
okay,
I
okay.
negotiate all his art fees and all that stuff now, and it's been going pretty well. So got some more clients, and we've got things that we're working on, some other opportunities that I'm looking into. For him, and I'm really happy and he's happy, and one
Right.
thing he told me was his wife is happier that I'm handling it as opposed to Mrs. White can be she yes, I mean, she obviously loves her husband, but she sometimes thinks that he is not the best businessman. and
Mm.
uh,
My wife
and
says the same thing about me. She's like, man, you know how to manage a business. You need to get like an accountant to manage everything for you. I'm like, I can do it, man.
well,
Don't
yeah,
tell a man he can't do it.
yeah, we was talking this morning. He was like, he said, I told my wife that you were, taking care of everything now. And because, I, in the last few weeks, I've sent him, some decent paychecks.
Right.
Over a couple clients had contacted me. We've got some other jobs that I've lined up. That will be coming. Not to mention, obviously, we're going to do. We're going to finish up brand, and then we're doing brand way of the gun. There's a lot of things that we've got planned for the future, and I know he's gonna do something for Doom Kicker for Elliot. I know, but I think that's gonna be down the line once the stretch goes. I'm really proud of how Elliot has been promoting that campaign and getting it. People are starting to, because it seemed like it had slowed down a little bit, and then it's starting to pick up. I know he was kind of stressing about it, but I was like, I don't know, man. He just kept grinding, and I love, he's over like 31,000 now, and I was like, yeah, man, keep it going, man. That's like I'm happy when I see Elliot out here, doing this thing, because I was like, Elliot's too talented. Obviously, I love Doug TenNapel as well.
Yeah, I love Elliot's style. I be telling him, I was like, man, you should be doing like nice looking comics, man. Your style is just beautiful.
Yeah, and I'm definitely glad I backed Doom Kicker. I done backed like 17 books. Well, I saw one guy told me he backed 101 books.
And I see some tweets like that. It just leaves me in my mouth. I'm like, ugh.
I was like, I don't have that kind of money, but and here's the thing though, I don't, because that's I saw Rich Johnson wrote his article. He was I guess it was the John Della Rose blog post that put out, and he had showed some old tweets from Denal and all this kind of stuff. And then Rich Johnson is kind of he's like a herpes sore to me.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I kind of see him as,
Yeah.
And
he's back.
Yeah, he's he'll come in spurts. Like he'll go away for a little while, and then it's time for it to start festering, and it'll start popping up. So that's how I see Rich Johnson. So he sees that obviously that John Della Rose had wrote something, and it was kind of critical of Denal and other people in Comicsgate, and then Rich was like, ha ha ha, it is time for me to do another hit piece.
Yeah.
And so he wrote, he wrote the article. I actually thought that was interesting because Rich, I don't even know if Rich is pretending to not have a bias anymore, because it was so funny, because I saw he had included a couple of tweets from somebody that was just kind of watching, in the last tweet was like, man, this is I guess he was being critical of John's blog post, and he was like, this is kind of like a Bleeding Cool hit piece or something,
right?
And he said, I guess I'll take that. And that was like the last thing that he I think
it was just dumb, I mean, putting up tweets from like 2016, I'm like,
yeah, I was just like, and I see Dr. Wright, he said JDA wrote about liberals hiding in CG, which was stupid because everyone knew they were there.
Yeah, exactly.
I was like, I'm not shocked to hear that Denal had expressed, more liberal views, or that he wasn't a Trump. He'd been very honest about his views, but he's also, I noticed over the last year, he's like, you know what? I don't disagree with the president on this, or and I'm like, that's what a normie would do. I was like, I guess everybody's supposed to have these hardcore politics and everything, but I'm conservative. But if a liberal says something that I think makes sense, I'm willing to listen to it.
Right. Me too. I became conservative in 2016. I was liberal all the way, but I never voted at all. It's just 2016 just made me, analyze my own views. I'm like, man, I don't agree with this. I don't agree with that. And I just realized, I'm a conservative,
And I was just like, I don't know. But that's the only thing, because when I've noticed Bleeding Cool, when Comicsgate books are being successful,
right,
especially someone like Ethan or Mike S. Miller, or John with Graveyard Shift or anything. So I just noticed that he doesn't really cover those.
Right.
and then unless I'll briefly mention it if I can take a little dig at them.
Right, right.
So I was just, and that's what I've noticed. That's how I notice how he gets down. So that tells me everything. If he was fair, I'd be like, oh, okay. Okay,
Right,
well,
right.
sometimes he says things I agree with sometimes, but I was like, it's always a slant. It's always, it's always to take it. It's like, oh, I think I
Yeah.
can own some comic skaters. So let me write. It's like, oh, Rifflemus said something. Let me write an article. That kind of thing. And I've noticed that's how he tends to operate, and which is not to mention his website gives computers the hantavirus whenever they go on there.
Hmm.
So that's one thing. I mean, that's what's so funny. I saw Richard did a video the other day, and he had to go on Bleeding Cool. He had like 2 blockers up, and I was like, it's like Star Trek when you go to Bleeding Cool. It's like shields up.
Yeah, for real. For real.
I just and I hate going and I've noticed sometimes when he writes an article that I want to do a video on, I'll try to see if I can get it on like Newsarama or like comicbook.com or something and see if someone else covered it, because I was like, oh my God, please let another site have it that doesn't have like the fucking AIDS virus on it. Like this
Yeah, I've done the same thing. When I see an article from, let's say, a website I don't like for example, CNN, I'm like, oh, let me go somewhere else.
Yeah, because I just don't want to go on the website because get exposed to all his his cyber STDs they expect, but hey man, another thing, that's the thing, and he did a hit piece on Doug TeNapel a couple weeks ago, and the reason now, and this was the thing though, he couldn't
Right,
make Doug look like the good guy though, because obviously Doug had announced that he wasn't gonna be in Comicsgate anymore, right?
right,
So
right.
he was like, Doug has left Comicsgate. Let me write an article. But
Yeah.
then but it starts off, I did a video on it, and Doug actually commented on the video because he was like, he thought it was funny. And me and him were talking and texting and stuff. But I did a video that said Rich Johnston puts the move on Doug TeNapel because like when you first, and he was at New York Comic Con a few years ago, and Rich took some weirdo photo with his shirt off with some other dude. They were 2 dudes sitting there in some bar or something with their shirts off with each other and stuff. And I was like, ugh, okay, some soy
Yeah.
boy stuff. So I thought, so I used that as the thumbnail, and people thought it was really funny. And
Oh, that up.
but Rich, started off the articles like, "Hey, Doug TeNapel's got Earthworm Jim out. It's raised over 200 some thousand." Blah. He was, he started off, and then he gets into the oh, he said anti trans stuff, anti LGBT stuff, all this kind of stuff. But then he says, "Hey, but Doug's decided to leave Comicsgate because of war campaign, blah blah blah, all this kind of stuff." And so I was like, he would never have uttered the words Earthworm Jim if he hadn't had an ulterior motive to kind of take a dig at Doug and take a
Right.
dig at Comicsgate and all this kind of stuff. So that is, like I said, I just noticed how that's how he gets down. So if it was fair, um, I would just be like, oh, okay, well, I don't agree with him sometimes, but he's fair. But I mean, it's always slanted. It's
Yeah.
always slanted.
Yeah.
Everything he does. So that's
Yeah,
that's
that's for
that's
real.
why I said if I see that he's covered something, I try to find it on another. I really like Bounding into Comics.
Yeah, me too.
I think John tries to be fair when he does the coverage and everything. Um,
Yeah, I like to read a lot of pieces from Bound into Comics a lot better.
yeah. It's not it's not overtly, hey, we're right, you're wrong, blah blah blah. It's just tries to be fair. I saw some of the book reviews and stuff, and if they're good, they're good. It's just like what that Iron Man 13 that Richard just did the video on that Gail Simone wrote. And I've been seeing a lot of people say, hey, this Iron Man that Gail wrote was actually surprisingly good. And then, because Dan Slott's Iron Man was kind of, so Richard did the video, and I thought he was going to roast him. He was like, and he said what I've seen a lot of other people say. He was like, "Hey, this is actually a good story." And I was like, obviously, Gail Simone is not a fan of Richard C. Meyer, and that's one thing I like about when he reviews comics.
Yeah.
Whether he likes the writer or not, he tries to be fair when he reviews. And he was like, "Hey, I didn't like the Domino stuff, but she's actually writing good Iron Man." So I was like,
that's what we need. At the end of the day, we need people like that. They're willing to put away their biases and be like, "Yo, this is good, this is bad."
Let me see. Hold on. Let's see. Matthew Crimes. Let's see. To say about that slow Kanan guy, you don't want to hear what I got to say. Just looking for my book, bro. I don't. Am I missing? Maybe I'm missing something. Did you drop something out? Okay, Matthew.
What do you got to say about that slow Kanan guy?
Yeah, because I don't know. It's always weird trying to communicate in sound bites. So, Matthew. But I mean, I just got a page this morning. I'm not sure what's going. And obviously, but I mean, even when the book is done, we got to go to print and everything. So I mean, it's just we are working, but I'm not exactly sure.
Right.
What
you are my campaign myself.
That's why I was like, yeah. So I don't know, but if there's something in particular that you need me to clarify, then obviously my DMs are open and all that. You can contact me, and be more than happy to give some clarification. But we are preparing the 21-page preview, because I do have all the pages of that. Just rescripting and kind of changing things in some of the places where I wasn't quite satisfied with some of the dialogue and stuff like that. I just want it to be right when we send it out. So, but that'll go to everyone, because just want everybody to see what the hell you've been paying for. There is a book, and it is coming, and it'll be here sooner rather than later. Because like I said, Kanan turned in a page this morning. I was very happy with that. See, Matthew Graham, one at a time is better than none. Laugh out loud. I still don't understand. It's like Yoda speaking.
I think by your pages, one at a time is better than none.
Okay. Well, yeah. He's definitely doing pages. I can assure you of that. Officially, right now, we have 12 pages to go, but he was working on, I think, page 38 as of this morning. We've got layouts up to page 41. We've got some inks to put on some of the pencil pages, but obviously can't show you the page. I'll show Cridious the new page, but but yeah, only those within the circle of trust can get to see the new pages. But there is but that's the thing. That there's a lot of misconception about what happened, because if we had been working since September of last year, then I'd be like, oh wow, but we haven't been working since September of last year. The campaign, went into in demand, and then Kanan was on the Assessa project that Stranger Comics put out. What's the guy? Sebastian. I can't remember his last name. But I know they just sold all that to HBO. They just sold their television rights they're developing all that. So that's the Niobe universe is going to be developed probably within the next few years at HBO. So I salute him getting that bag, but Kanan did the Assessa book on that. And I tried to get him to come on because I wanted to actually interview Sebastian, about his project. Kanan really spoke very highly of him. But we thought when I set everything up last year that Kanan was going to be done
Right.
with Assessa. Um, that he was going to be done with Assessa by the end of October. So the campaign, went into in demand. And then so it's like we got the money, because that's another thing. Indiegogo didn't pay us. We didn't get paid for a couple more weeks, even after we went into store mode.
Oh,
And I
no.
knew, it's like he needed the money to, to get started. Let me see. Llama Gigante. I really hope this sexy party doesn't become a graphic novel. I would concur with that. That's kind of generally why, I always clearly label the podcast and sexy party. We don't. YouTube doesn't monetize those and all those. But
But
we're doing very well with sexy party. I'm very
would you
happy with
consider
it.
that though a sexy party graphic novel?
No. I just want to do regular comics. I just want to do regular comics. So
You can do like suggestive situations.
well, there'll be sexual situations in Brand, not this first book.
Right.
But because David's still single in this first book, there's just outside of some kissing, there's not much going on, and some language kissing, werewolves getting the heads chopped off, things like that.
Right.
You're not going to see, there's more violence in language as opposed to anything quote unquote graphic.
Right. Right.
This is something that we've kind of struggled with. There's a scene, I'm not sure if you saw it, where that I actually tweeted it out on Twitter, where Dawn and Fame and Fame's little side chick Rita, they're going back to his little burnt out tenement that and in the script I kind of told Kanan that I wanted to be kind of like Nino Brown with the Carter in New Jack City.
Right. Right. Right.
And I said, but I was like, on the outside, I wanted to look, like Flint, Michigan, or like the worst burnt out hoods that you would ever see, right?
Right.
But
Right.
when we go on the inside, he's like knocked the walls down. He's pimped that whole place out. He's got a jacuzzi in there, got full spread, big flat screen TVs, got a full bar in there, women on stripper poles, the whole thing. I wanted to be, a different world, because when she, they're walking up the hall, going up and they're looking in, she's like, oh my God, I'm in the worst neighborhood ever. This is a horrible place. And then when he actually, knocks and the security person looks through the door to make sure everything's cool and he lets him in, all of a sudden you see, oh my God, he's living so lavish in here and everything. And Kanan drew the page and he had, I was like, these girls are hookers, man. And he had them all, covered up with clothes and stuff. And I was like, they're hookers, Kanan. I was like, these girls are, he was like, well, my kids are here and everything. And I said, well, yeah, but I was like, we have, marketed Brand as a mature book. It's not a kid's book. And he's got the girls with like bikinis and stuff like that. I was like, what are you doing, man? I was like, come on, bro. And he was like, okay, I'll go. The two girls that are like stripping on the pole down in the back shot, I'll erase their top and then he went in and took the bikini off the girl that was in the glass cage, and he put pasties on her. He redrew it. He went in and just made some tweaks to it, and I was like, that works for me.
Right.
The only thing I told him, and he's gonna fix that in inks, is that there's a girl in the jacuzzi and she's got a bikini on, and I was like, dude, she's a hooker, man. It's so he was like, yeah, when I go in and do the inks, I'll just remove that. And I was like, yeah. I was like, let the nipples fly free, brother. And that's what it is, because I've told him, I was like, especially when we get to the parts where, David and Dawn are actually married, I was like, they're going to be having sex and it's going to It's not going to be, there's ways to show it without, we're going to tease the sex. It's not going to be overt.
Right.
But Kanan, I don't know. Kanan's a Christian, but it's so funny because that's one of the things me and him go back and forth on. He was like, well, I'm, my faith, and I'm a Christian and everything. And I said, yeah, but then you just turn in a page where a damn werewolf got his head sliced off and it's bloody as hell and all this. And he's like, I don't seem to have as much of a problem with the cartoon violence as I do with the nudity. And I was like, yeah, because he was like, when I was on Uber, he was working on Uber with Kyron Gillian.
All right.
And Kyron definitely had it very violent. Uber's especially when Kanan was on it was very violent. And actually, I've seen that on Amazon. They've got a lot of the Uber stuff that Kanan did. I think he did like 17 issues or something, 16, 17 issues.
Wow.
And it was it's interesting, and I want to, I actually want to, kind of read some of it because a lot of people was like, oh, I knew Kanan from Uber, and I was like, he's shown me some of the, where people are getting their heads ripped off and stuff like, but again, that fantasy violence he doesn't have a problem with.
Right.
It's the I was like,
stuff.
well, there's a scene that I wrote that I told him about, and I was like, well, he's kind of sitting there, and then she kind of goes down and unzips his pants, and some stuff is going on, and he was like, oh, don't know if I want to, and I was like, okay, and they're laying in bed together, and it's like, morning sex. He kind of goes under the covers and kind of starts doing some stuff. Oh, I don't know if I want to draw that. And I was like, Kanan, I told you what I was doing in the beginning, and that's where Kanan was like, okay, well, I will. He said, I'm trying to get my head wrapped around it because he said, I understand it. This is a mature reader's book.
Right.
He's like, yeah, but he said, you understand, I don't want to be overly graphically, I don't want to be overly graphic, especially even if we're doing sexual stuff. And I was like, right. But I said, I definitely want to make sure that the reader knows that there is some sexual stuff going on, because I was like, the sex is important in Brand. There's like threesomes and all kind of stuff. There's all kind of stuff that's going to be happening in the next couple of books. I'm talking about, yeah, there's going to be like lesbian sex, graphic, threesomes, all kind of stuff that are involving different characters in the book. And I want to do that and have, let's see, Wolf of Magdeburg. Kanan doesn't want to draw your smut, Antonio. That's true. I actually can't even. I don't know, but it's strange to me because he agreed to do this. It was like, I told him I never lied to Kanan, and he'll tell you this. I never lied to him about what we were doing, what the book was about, what was going to happen, and like I said, when we get to those violent scenes, oh my God, he'll kill those. He'll do them all day. He was like, yo, let me just draw this werewolf with his head getting cut. I mean, he literally, I don't know if you've seen that page. I think I sent it out on the backer update where there's a werewolf getting his head chopped off with the David's student had turned his weapon into a kind of like a sickle with a chain on it. And I specifically wanted that weapon, and Kanan like drew this. It was badass. It was and I was like, oh my God, you just killed that. And Kanan was like, yeah, man. But I mean, like I said, if you have a violent story, and Kanan will not object to that. He'll show people getting their heads blown off, their brains blown out, heads get chopped off, all kind of arms and legs getting decapitated. He has no problem with that. And then you be like, hey, she's taking a shower in this scene, and hey, let's
can we just put a towel around her?
Yeah, that kind of stuff. And I was like, it drives me nuts. And I was like, I've got people, saying, like fuck or shit and stuff like that. And I was like, people getting blown up and getting killed and everything. And then all of a sudden he's like, oh, I don't want to show a breast. I don't want to do that. It's like, but yeah, I'll have I'll have his head chopped off here. I'll also have him stabbed in the eye. I'll do all this kind of, it's that kind of stuff. So I was like, I don't understand that. It blows me away. But in all the years that I've been getting to know Kanan, he is definitely a man of principle. I respect that man. You know what I'm saying? He understands, like I said, that's why I had to have him go back. I was like, dude, you got a room full of strippers and they're all like clothed up and stuff. And he was like, well, I was like, so I don't know which backer is gonna get the stripper page. I kind of wanted it. I kind of want the page.
Like, well, they just got to work, Antonio. They haven't started stripping yet.
Oh my God. I actually want the stripper page though. It when he showed it to me that nice, I sent it to Richard. And I don't know. Richard has I don't know. He's seen so much of Brand. Richard has seen so much of because I just felt like I kind of wanted, I don't know. I listened to so many diversity in comics videos.
Right.
That he was such an influence on me. He was the first person in, and I know, I know John De La Rose says he created the hashtag Comicsgate or whatever. He was one of the founders of Comicsgate. I never heard of John De La Rose until he popped up on Ethan Van Sciver's channel.
I traced back Comicsgate all the way down to like 2009, 2007 maybe. That's
really?
But that's why when he claimed that he created Comicsgate, I'm like, I don't think so. I traced that back many years back, and I reached out to the original hashtag users.
That's crazy, man. But yeah. I mean, like, well, he, like I said, if he did create it, whatever.
Yeah.
I never heard of. I don't. And in case he hears this, because I've never had any crosswords with John. I don't know John.
Right.
There's no beef here. I never heard of you. I started watching Diversity in Comics like 2 years ago, and I started hearing Doug Ernst, England Team, right. Yellow Flash, Captain Cummings. Those are the ones that I heard. I heard Zach talk about those people. That's who I heard. I never heard him say John De La Rose. That's not saying that what John said is wrong. I'm just telling you he wasn't an influence on me, and Richard C. Meyer was.
Yeah, Rich, I love his videos, man.
So that's there's a lot of people that played basketball before Michael Jordan picked up a ball.
Mm-hmm.
But I started watching like Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan, stuff like that. That's what I was watching. So
remember
Richard,
Grandmama?
Yeah, Larry Johnson. I have his rookie card, by the way.
Do you?
I've got when I bought it, it was like $20 to buy, and I think you can get them for like $6 now. It's yeah, but a lot of that is because of the Fleer Upper Deck and some of these trades. Because I remember when Marvel bought Fleer, and then they lost a lot of money, and then they had to sell it. I think they sold Fleer to Upper Deck.
Right.
But yeah, I was like, because that's when they had those X-Men trading cards. They had like X-Men Deluxe, and then they put the little pull cards in there. They put out too many of the trading card sets trying to milk it.
Right.
And it just ended up being a big disaster. And they were like, "Oh my God, we're losing money. We're hemorrhaging money on these cards, and we need to stay in our lane, and just do comics. Maybe lease those." Those opportunities out to companies that are good at doing that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Because, it's like, yeah, they had so many. I was like, they just put a set out, and it was like, oh no, we got another Fleer set out. Boom, here we go. It was like they kept putting these sets out. And it was just like, okay, we're gonna do a Spider-Man, we're gonna do an Avengers set. All right, boom. And it's like they kept, and then that's why when you look back 25 years later, those cards didn't accrue in value. There's no real added value. A lot of my old X-Men cards that I got from back in the day, You look on eBay and you can get them for like $1, $2,
Hmm.
and they have like Jim Lee art on them and stuff.
Oh man.
And it's like,
So
oh, okay, $1.50. I'll take, if you get, I'll take $1.50 and a stick of bubble gum. Anybody wants that?
I had an Emma Frost card, and I went the other day on Google trying to find it, and I don't see it. It's like they never made it. So I'm like, was that a part of my imagination? I'm pretty sure I had that as a card, but I found that as a cover, but not as a card. And I find it strange. I'm pretty sure I had it.
Well, there was, and in retrospect, I'm glad I didn't buy it. The most prized card out of the X-Men set that I had from like 91 or so was the hollow foil Wolverine.
Hmm.
And I look on eBay now, and people are selling those for like $4 or $5. I'd go to my comic shop, and my comic book shop was selling those cards for $50, $75, $100. So I can imagine if my dumb ass had given him like $75 for the hollow foil Wolverine.
Right.
Boy, you talking about a value dropping, because it was something that I wanted so much when I was younger that I thought about buying one. Just because, just going back and I couldn't afford one when I was a kid, and I was like, now that I have a little bit of money, I could actually, and it's only $4 or $5, I could get one.
Hmm.
So
You get it?
I would, it's something I've thought about going back, but like I said, at my comic book shop, they were trying to sell these things for like $50 and $75 and stuff. So it's I'm kind of glad that I did not save all my shekels and give it to the comic book shop. But
Yeah.
but
Man.
but yeah, oh
You
yeah,
know,
and I wanted to mention that I got Ben Henderson sent me a couple of copies of Ravage Kill All Men, and they turned out really good.
right.
But he's got a printing company that, because he sent me the Ravage books, and the one, I guess, that goes in the comic shop, it's done on newsprint.
Right.
And
Right.
I actually thought about doing brand on newsprint.
Hmm.
And I don't know if it, I watched Professor Geek flip through the Ravage book. He did a review on it.
Okay.
And he was like, when I open it up, some of the colors are kind of muted, because the newsprint just doesn't hold color very well.
Right. Right.
And so I was, but I had asked Ben, I was like, is that true? He's like, well, he said some of the copies of Ravage, especially when we were first running them off the press, he said maybe some of the colors got a little muddied on them, but he said, that middle run and the latter run where we had kind of figured out more what we were doing, the clarity got a little better. But like I say, he sent me 2 copies of the newsprint because I was like, hey, I'm willing to possibly do some business with you if let's
Right.
see, Lama Gigante says the Ravage book looks so dark to me. Well, see, that's the thing. When I opened up the one with the newsprint, the colors did get a little muddy. If I'm being honest, I told Ben that it's not. I'm not. You know, I'm not. I feel bad even saying that, because I really like Ben. I had him and Mike Barron on the other week. For their Project Offworlder. Man, but yeah, the colors. The newsprint doesn't really translate, especially with everybody using computer colors now.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
really have to kind of strip the colors down and go more to a 4. And now my colorist can color in that style. I've seen some samples where he strips those colors back, tones down the computer effects, and just kind of does a 4 color type. And if it was like 30 years ago, I'd be like, yeah, let's do it like that. But
Right.
you can do those starbursts, and you can do those shades and all that. I want brand to be seen the way it's intended.
Right.
Now, he also sent me one of the Kevin Nolan metal prints. And when you open that up, that paper, the gloss stock on that looked great. The colors were vibrant. It made the colors look, everything worked better. Because I was like, you can see when you open it up and you see that gloss and see that the colors are vibrant and everything works out. And then you go back to the newsprint version and open it up. You can just see that it's the same art, but the quality is just different.
Right.
And so I told him, I was like, can you give me a price on the gloss paper? Because that's what I would need, because I don't think brand would translate well to newsprint. It just doesn't
Right.
seem.
I mean, you look at brand; it's very pretty. Like when I saw Ravage, I was like, oh, that looks like one of those old comics you buy like in the '80s. And when you look at brand, it's like the style and the colors, and you want to see that nice and gloss paper, or matte or something like that.
Let's see. Matthew Fowler, Ravage was dark, but it was still readable. Yeah, it was. But since I've have both versions, like I said, I have the version that's on the actual gloss paper, and then the version that's on newsprint. You cannot compare the difference. The quality of the colors, it just looks. It's a different book.
Right.
And so that told me right there, because I was like, if I could actually print brand on newsprint, I think that would work out, because I'm a fan of those old style books.
Me too.
But yeah, I just, with the way the colors look and everything, I've got to have brand. I've got to make sure those colors pop right.
Right.
I think my colorist is matter of fact, Icarus did he turned in those colors for Iron Skies, the cover that Kanan did. If anyone is interested in that book, Christopher Rue, it's steampunk. It looks great. I'd interviewed Christopher a couple weeks ago on this channel, and I had talked to him, and he had expressed some interest in having Kanan do a cover for him, and I negotiated Kanan's fee, and he was very prompt with his payment, and so we made it. We made it happen, and the good thing is when I sent him, he sent me the rest of the payment the other day, and I sent him his files, and he was very, very, very pleased with all the work.
Right.
That
And that's a good book. I like that book. It's very pretty.
Yeah. I can't wait to get a copy of that, because I've been trying to help him, and I'm hoping Mike I know he's gonna do the Drawn and Quartered fan edition on Chester Busby's channel. He told me he was gonna be on that Drawn and Quartered fan edition, and I know Chester's got about 700 or so subscribed to his channel, so that should 700 rabid comic book fans that will help. Let me see. Matthew Fowler, Jawbreakers had blurry letters, but it was readable also. Now, that's true, but it drove Zach crazy. So that drove him crazy. He wanted the book to be 1,000% perfect.
Right.
So, and I want Brand to be perfect.
Right.
I just
well, that's the thing, right? I mean, this is our first books being out there, so we're good. The customer base is gonna find mistakes here and there.
Yeah, I was like, man, I don't know. I'm paranoid about that. I want it to be perfect. Yeah. I really, but I know.
Like with me, I'm looking through it, and I'm like, man, I know there's gonna be things I'm missing that other people are gonna pick up, and that's gonna have to force me to do better my second book.
Well, it's kind of funny. Icarus was kind of going over the proofs and everything on some of the pages,
right.
And he went back in and he goes, "Oh man, I made a mistake here that I didn't notice." And he went back in and tweaked his colors and stuff, and I was like, "That's good," because I've gone over the pages with a fine-tooth comb trying to find mistakes,
right,
and I still can't catch everything.
Yeah, it's the same thing with writing. You know how you write something. And you think it's ready, and then you leave it down for like about a month or two, and you go back to it, you're like, oh man, I got mistakes here, mistakes there. There's a flaw in the story, and you got to rewrite it, or at least adjust it.
And that's the thing, man. Oh man. Well, okay. So I saw Ethan. Ethan has gone live, and he wants us to come on. So I'm gonna wrap this stream up so we can go hop on Ethan's channel.
Yep.
So I would encourage everyone to go on over to Comic Artist Pro Secrets, and let's go hang with EVS. So Cridious, Detective Dead is in the description there.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for having me
on. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. We're gonna go hang out with Ethan. But you know the routine. If you want to hang out with me, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, right here, everywhere is at Akari Press. All the information's in there. Thank you guys. God bless. Have a great night.
Later, everybody.